Hello guys, this is theradman and I am here with a tutorial. Now, if you watched my previous Let's Play video, I mentioned a power generations video, and this is it. Now, keep in mind, in the next episode of the LP, I'll say that this isn't made yet, because this is probably going to come out after that episode, but I'm not sure yet, so I'll just throw that in there. Now, for here, I'm going to show you the way that and this is just my opinion, the way that I think is the best to generate power. Now, this world is being really laggy, so we're actually going to go to a new world, completely new. I don't want survival. And we're going to call it the Power World. Very cool. And, I will be showing you basically some of the ways that I am going to be generating power, as along with some ways that you can easily generate power with very little resources. And I'll also this might end up being a two-part, but at some time I will try and show you what the power is actually used for, because if you don't know what it's used for, it's kind of useless. And there we go. I was thinking, is it gonna crash on me? But apparently not. Oh, come on, you piece of garbage. Load. Load, dagnabbit. And we started off in a just awful biome for this. Yeah. This is really not a good place. You know what? I'm going to generate a new world until I can actually... Hey guys, I'm back. I decided just to go to a super flat world because most of what we'll be dealing with... Oh crap, I left it on. I set it to survival. Most of what we'll be dealing with I can show you in a survival. Not survival. Creative. So first of all, I'm going to show you what we will be using to power everything, because my goal in this tutorial is to show you how to make a completely self-sufficient, self-sustaining, whatever you call it, system. Now you're going to want a track about this size. The more power you need, the bigger the track you'll need to have, and I'll show you why in just a moment after I connect it. Okay. Then you will need what is, I'll just show you what mod it's from in case you're going to look up crafting recipes through the mod. You're going to need a coal engine from Steve Cart. A standard hole will work for this. We're making a woodcutter, by the way. I will also show you how to make an automatic wheat farm. It's just a little bit more of a kind of a pain in the butt. And then we will need at least 2 internal storages, because I don't like to mess with these chests, and I will probably show you the crafting recipe for all this. We're also going to need 2 cargo managers and a cart assembler. Now you will get 2 of these advanced detector rails when you make them, so keep this in mind. You only have to make 1 pair of these, but you will need to make individual cargo managers. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to break 2 of the corners and place 2 cargo managers. Now I'll teach you how to use these more in just a second. You're also going to need a cart assembler somewhere where it won't be in the way of the tracks. And then you just want to put in your engine, your fertilizer, and your storage, and your woodcutter. Don't forget the woodcutter. And then you're going to want to hit assemble. I forgot, we're going to need coal. You can use charcoal, which I have mine set up to do, but if you've gone mining and have coal, it's really easy just to use that coal. Now, so while that's doing its thing, I am going to show you actually what this is going to be doing and how to program it. So we need blue. This one is going to upload to the engine. We want it to upload bone meal and coal. Now we need these to both be blue because this is the side that it's going to read. Now over here we will do something slightly different. We will take blue and we will transfer from the storage slots to, from the cart. Now don't worry about these two directional controls. You would only need one if you had like a long strip of straight track like this, and you had like one of these rails at each end, and then you would just program it to go back and forth, back and forth. But I am not doing that, so we're just going to not worry about that setting. You're also going to need some saplings to start this out. You don't need too many. It's actually really simple. So we have our coal and our fertilizer. That's the other thing I don't like about. The only thing I don't like about this is the time. But like I waited 25 minutes to make a cart, but I would take this opportunity to actually set up like your other machinery, because it is kind of complicated from this point on. Okay. So this is the one that we need to put stuff into. This is the one that we need to take everything out of. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So what you're going to need for that is a wooden transport pipe. Now you have to use a wooden transport pipe. You could use a retriever, but I'm going to assume that you're not into pneumatic tubes and stuff at this point. It has to be brought up in this stupid thing to show you. These pneumatic tubes, they're just a really nice form of pipes, but they are incredibly expensive if you aren't set up yet. Once you're set up, they're just a kind of a pain in the butt because they take a while to make, and I like I said, I will probably show you how to make at least most of these things. We need a pipe. Why am I typing in wood? You'll also need either cobblestone or stone transport pipe, and you will need a diamond transport pipe. That is for sure. Now, you don't need to use golden transport pipes, but if you want to, you can. I'm not going to, just because, like I said, this is supposed to be for like someone who is in the very beginning. Now, you're probably thinking, but I wouldn't have diamonds. Well, you probably wouldn't be needing to use power until you have this set up. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your stone or cobblestone transport pipe and lay down a diamond pipe. It can be any length away, closer the better, because then you can actually get straight into processing stuff as compared to waiting. Now, what you'll also need to remember is you'll need to keep the coal in this sucker, because I have taken like hours waiting for one of these and realized, oh wait, I have no charcoal in it. Anyway, so what you'll need is you'll want I would use two different kinds of pipe out from these, or like this, because you eventually want three outputs. One of them will be saplings, one of them will be apples, and one of them will be the wood. Now, there are many different options to do with the wood. I'm going to use oak wood for our growing needs, just because I've actually experimented with it and it works. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, for that cutter, you will need, I believe it's like 5 diamonds and quite a bit of gold. So be prepared for that. That's actually the most costly part of this entire process. But keep in mind, you have to have everything in at once, or it will not assemble your cart right. You'll have everything on your cart, but you won't be able to power it. I've done that so many times it's not even funny. Anyway, so what you do then is you take, and you will need a squeezer for apples, because like I said, I'm going to assume that you're not very well set up at this point. So you're not going to have a very good source. Oh my gosh, I can't even say anything. That's not fertilizer. We need a fermenter. You'll need a fermenter and a squeezer. The fermenter goes where your trees will go, and the squeezer goes where your apples will go, because it's going to squeeze them into apple juice, and more importantly, mulch, which is put into this slot of the fermenter. And when you add water and mulch and a sapling, or there's several different kinds of things that can be used, but the easiest is sapling, I think. Anyway, so I'm going to actually take a little bit of liberty, and I'm going to use some pneumatic tubing just because for some reason my world's been kind of glitching out, and I really do not want it to crash. Just because it's kind of a big pain in the butt when it does. Anyway, so we will also need a barrel. Barrels are for basically infinite storage. Well, up to 64 stacks of 64. Which, you beware, the wood one will fill up depending on... It really depends on how big your wood is, your farm. If you have a farm like this size, it won't really fill it up all that fast. But, like I said, this is expandable. You just need to add more, like, furnaces and stuff to it. So I'm going to use the regular furnace for the same reason. I'm going to use 4, even though in my Let's Play I only use 3. It's just because I'm so cramped for space in my Let's Play, I don't really have room for another one. Now, I am going to take another liberty and use a retriever for these, just because I haven't yet perfected it using Buildcraft pipes, and I've been having continual issues with it. And I need some tubes. So what you'll do is you'll put your tubes into the top. This will be your coal. This is going to drain out of your barrel. I can't click to save my life right now. And I would just use a retriever. Now this is kind of a later game piece of equipment, and I'll show you why in just a second if I can place it right. That is okay. And it's not so much the retriever that's the issue; it's how you power it. And I'll show you that in a minute too. So time to dawn. I'll just really quickly show you how you make one of these. The alloy ingots and the brass and the blue alloy, they are made in the alloy furnace, which is just 8 bricks in the shape of a furnace, so not too hard to make. The retriever then needs a filter, leather ender pearls. You might get killed once or twice hunting for these. The filter is really easy. You just need a dull-upped wafer, and for that you will need a silicon bowl, which is just 8 sand and 8 glass, I believe. But then you also need a diamond handsaw, which is where more diamonds come into the equation. So not incredibly expensive, but kind of a pain in the butt if you don't have access to very many diamonds. And relays are pretty simple. Most things it's just like pistons and redstone as the base components. So like I said, not really end game items, but if you don't have a good supply of redstone or diamonds or both, I wouldn't recommend trying to make these right away. Like I said, this can be done with Buildcraft pipes, but for the interest of the tutorial, I'm going to try and keep this short and to the point. Now, I would normally do this out of the back of the furnaces, but I'm going to again be using a retriever just for the tutorial, and I've had issues with them in the past doing stupidly weird things. Now, since we're not going to be letting this run forever, I can just put one of these on top of the barrel and run a pneumatics tube straight into the barrel. Normally I would hook these up to like a generator array, because even though you're going to be producing biogas, you're going to want something to eat up all this coal, because trust me, for the amount of biogas you get out of one of these, you're going to get 10 times that in coal. Now what you'll also need is an engine. I'm going to use a biogas engine and a electrical engine, because you'll need at least one electrical engine to start up the system, but once the system is started, you don't really need the electrical engine. But like I said, if you need more power, not more power, if you need whatchamacallit, can't even think of it. Oh yeah. Okay, so if you're going to need to use this coal, I would simply use it in a generator. Oops, that's not it. So anyway, these biogenerators are what we will be using in this tutorial. I would just use either a generator, or I think that actually might be, yeah. So this generator just takes coal, it burns it, and it puts out electricity. So it's what we're going to be using to start up the process. Coal goes in here and it produces electricity. Now, all you need is a little bit of copper cable. You will need quite a bit of this stuff if you have a big plant, but it's only really used in electrical engines. So if you're going to be using like one electrical engine to start up your infinite biogas machine, but then you're not going to use anymore, I don't see the requirement of having them. Tank. Okay. So something else that we will also need that I forgot is iron tank stuff. These are not required, but I use them because it kind of gives you a measure of how well you're producing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an iron tank, and this will be used to store our biogas, because I'm 90% certain that even with 2 biogas engines, it's not going to use up the amount of fuel that we can produce once the farm is actually up and running. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll just I think need to check this, because if it's about ready, it's got 14 minutes left. Okay, we'll just get a little charcoal or coal, and we need charcoal actually. Anyway, so you can see it drained a fair amount of coal from when we checked on it last, but it also made some progress. So the way that you make one of these tanks is, I believe the entire bottom layer, or at least all the sides and like the this outside strip, it all has to be this iron tank wall. Now oops, need to be in this mode. This does use iron plates, which you need either a plate bending machine or a rolling machine. Same difference. An iron tank, these iron tank valves, they're a little more complicated to make, and they do take more iron, but they're the only way to get your thing in and out. Now a gauge, see, it's not too complicated to make. These gauges are the only way that you can actually if you want to see your fluids. And then you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks, and then you need to fill in. I'll show you it. You need to fill in at least this, and maybe even the floor of the tank solidly. There cannot be any other blocks in here, or your tank will not work. And there isn't anything special that you have to do to connect it, but yeah, there isn't anything special, but if you don't do it right the first time, you'll have to keep tinkering with it until it does connect. Now I'm not going to fill this in right now, because we won't need it for a minute, and it's going to consume quite a bit of time. So I will show you one of the other sizes that I'm going to use for the seed oil. Now this is simply a 3x3. It won't take that much iron, I believe. Again, it needs to at least follow those dimensions of, I think it's actually a 3 by like this, or I think it's like a 3 by something. We'll find out. This will take a bit of iron, but I think it will be worth it, because you won't have to waste all the glass on tanks, which is I believe it's Buildcraft way of storing liquids. And while it may be pretty efficient, well, no, it's not that efficient, because if you're producing buckets and buckets of this stuff, you're gonna want iron tanks, because they can probably hold, what, 200 or 300 tanks from Buildcraft can hold. As you can see, this turns into an iron tank. It becomes seamless. You can see through the glass. And these valves are now the only way in and out. Nothing else can get in unless it goes through a valve. Now, you can use the redstone engine combined with a waterproof pipe, but just to cut down on the amount of items lagging out my game, I'm going to use a liquiduct, because I've had issues with redstone engines and my game in the past. But I don't think that they'd be much of a problem, but I really don't need to try. Now, these liquiducts, they are kind of expensive, as you can see. They take copper and hardened glass, which you need obsidian and lead. Lead is easy to find. You just basically need a pulverizer. No. Okay, you either need a bee farm, or what's the other thing that it uses? You either need a bee farm. Come on. How do you make obsidian dust? Come on. Or a pulverizer, like I said. You either need a bee farm or a pulverizer to get the obsidian dust. But it is worth it in the end because they are kind of nice, because the only thing they require is a redstone signal, so you can just have like a redstone torch here, which also powers your engine. And then if we just have a wrench, we can control this. I believe will now drain our squeezer and keep the apples flowing, because apple juice will build up a lot faster than it can drain if you use redstone engines, I believe, depending on how many apples you have in your system at once. Now, the mulch, I am just going to manually move it over, but I'm sure you can develop a way to like store it and then give it out as it's needed. That's not really my top priority though, because like I said, this is just a tutorial. This is basically the most basic setup I can think of. We're gonna check our assembler. Got about 9 minutes left to kill. Anyway, so I will really just quickly finish this tank so you can see the size difference. So while this holds 720,000, I don't know how many thousand is a bucket, but I believe it's somewhere around either 100 or 1,000. I can't remember the exact measurement though. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to fill this in because, like I said, I can't remember the exact specs of an iron tank, whether this has to be solid 2 or just this frame right there. Now, if you're going to be having like that lava tank that I have in my other creative world, one thing I failed to do is I did not give it enough valves, and I'm going to try and correct that mistake here. And you can see if you want just one valve, which I'm just going to use here, you just put it right here, and it's completely in the middle, which is for you OCD people. And then I just fill in the top because I'm in creative mode and not worried about conserving materials. Now, if you don't have a lot of glass, I wouldn't do what I'm doing here, which is making like 9/10 of this entire thing this glass stuff, because it looks pretty good. Wish it would stop lagging though. I don't even know why it's lagging. It's the thing. I mean, my computer is like lagging insanely. Oh, I just looked over and I realized it's because I'm actually converting a video for YouTube now. I think it's the episode 6. I think I'm converting Let's Play Minecraft episode 6 for YouTube right now. So yeah, now I think I get why my computer's having such grief. It's because I'm trying to convert a video and record video at the same time. Which I don't think I'd recommend doing, seeing as how my performance has been kind of compromised because of it, but I needed to record something because I was so bored out of my mind because I just got my homework done. Okay. Let's see. We'll just complete this. You will need like either a jetpack, or you'll need to build this like from the ground up if you're going to want to be efficient about it and not have to break any blocks. The other thing that you're going to want to do, I just remembered, is make sure that you don't stand in here, because I don't know what happens, I've never tried, if you actually break a tank block after you've finished the tank. I'd assume it doesn't work well though for you. I'd assume if you had any liquids in it, it would also just delete them. Kind of like if you delete, can't remember what it's called, but as you can see, 6 million, whatever it is, compared to 720,000. Now, the reason I use the larger one for this and not for this, and also you're going to want to run liquiducts above your engines and here, because the reason it's larger is you're going to produce a lot more biomass than you are going to do seed oil, or not seed oil, apple juice, just because apple juice is a byproduct of apples, and everyone knows you usually get more saplings than apples from a tree. I'm starting to get sick of nighttime. Anyway, that might have been off. And then what you'll do is you'll just run a liquiduct from here. Do a little bit of fancy wire. Oh, how'd that get there? Do a little bit of fancy block placing to keep this from. Because what we don't want is we want to keep this line clear, because we're also going to have to ship in water, and I'll probably just use regular Buildcraft pipes for that, because it's really easy. All you need is an aqueous accumulator. I don't believe that they're that hard, but I'll check. They do take a machine frame and a pneumatic servo, but all pneumatic servo is redstone and glass, and a machine frame is just gold and iron, so don't let the name fool you. Really, a machine frame and a pneumatic servo aren't that hard to make, and the way you use this machine, which I will show you now, is you place it down. It'll have this, it'll have like a display here, and it'll have these orange outputs everywhere else. Now, if you use, I believe this will even work actually if you just use a waterproof pipe. Let's see, we'll use a stone one. Now, if we put it above, we can see that this has 11 MB out of something thousand, 4,000 I think. But here's the secret. If you take water and you put it all around, ooh crap, I'm lucky that hole was there. This is why I don't like lag also. I would be careful if you're working with anything with redstone around one of these could be dangerous. And as you can see, the water like automatically starts everything filling up. And everything is actually starting to lag out in my world right now, which is slightly worrying me, but I'm not too worried about it because the video is like, I think it's at least 80 or 90% done, so hopefully the lag will go away by the time we can actually test this. So, okay, just hook this up like this, and if you're near an ocean like I am, I just have my aqueous accumulator stuck in the ocean, and I believe even if you only have like one water source block, this will still fill up fast enough. And these, if they're running full power, they do take quite a bit of water, but I don't think they'll take too much in the scheme of things. Actually, I remembered what you're going to need is you're actually going to need to also hook up this to an electrical engine, because I kind of forgot this is actually what's going to jumpstart the entire thing. So I'll just really quickly fix that. While this can help jumpstart it, it doesn't necessarily necessarily do it, because the power to, yeah, this is actually useless. Power to this is useless because you actually have to have mulch first. So you may have to store a few saplings until you get enough apples to actually make, you know, I believe every apple will give you mulch, or at least I believe there's a high chance of getting mulch. So once it's actually started, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with it. We'll just finish placing these, and then I believe the entire system, once we introduce our biogas, will actually be self-sufficient. This is like a really dirty version of it. I'm sure if you put this underground with only the tracks Oh yeah, there's one other thing I forgot. We will need a gate. A archer gate. I don't know how you're actually supposed to say it. Now you will need a pulsing chipset from this, which you do need an assembly table. This is the most annoying part of it, which it takes obsidian, and then it also takes a laser to power it. It's spelled S-A-E-R for some reason. Now they both take obsidian and redstone. I might show you the crafting recipes, or I might not, but you'll need to make one of these, and you'll need items in inventory, energy pulsar. So then if this has items in its inventory, which it will have from what the tree farm harvests, you will get all your items, and this has like 38 seconds left. And this is probably the most important part. You could use a redstone engine, but this will do it automatically, and it will cut down on lag from because there won't be a continuous engine running. I will be right back, guys. Never mind, someone else got the phone. Let's see, we'll need, since I won't be taking out any of these, I will just put this torch here, so that automatically these should get power. Forgot the other thing you will need to jumpstart this is 2 buckets of lava, only 2, because like I said, once this process is actually started, it will be, I'm pretty sure, total self-sufficient. Plus, if you equate in the electrical engines, if you have one here and one here, it will in theory never run out, because you will always produce enough wood to keep the fuel going for the generator. And what just happened here? That is not what I wanted to happen at all. You dirty little beastard. We're gonna have to adjust this. Like I said, it would be a lot harder for this to happen if you actually put time into it. Me, I haven't really put any time into this. I'm kind of just derping around. I really hope that didn't fill these with water, because then they might actually run. Wait, they have water. Dirty little bastards. They're gonna run now. Wait. Oh, crap. That might actually break something, because if these are filled with water, they're gonna start trying to run, and then they won't run on the biogas. I will fix this, and actually, I have an idea. Good heck. The thing I don't like about liquiducts is you have to break like every single flippin' one of them. What the flip? Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Okay, here we go. This will fix it. I am 99.9% sure. Okay, now we are just going to do this. As you can see, it does delete everything inside until you bring it back. What's the deal? What's the deal? Okay, I have an idea. What we're going to do is we're going to fill this liquiduct with water to fix this, because I am not really in a good mood. Okay, boom. Okay, now if we just delete this, the water is all gone. You can see it'll look like you don't have much happening at first, but that was actually quite a bit of water inside that tank. Anyway, so then we'll put down one of these here, and I don't want to jumpstart this right now, but all you'll do is you'll add in coal or wood or whatever, and oh yeah, our little guy is going to be done, so we can pull him out, and he is ready to roll. Now, since he's coal powered, I have some charcoal here for him, and we'll also want saplings like I mentioned earlier. Just 64 saplings will do. You could even give him 2. Oh crap, we don't want fuel. We want him to run on charcoal. And then as you see, he goes around, he plants things, and I would make an automated system to like keep like half bone meal, uh half charcoal in there roughly. But if you don't have any bone meal, you don't have to set that fertilizer thing. I already have quite a bit of bone meal in my world though, so I'm going to, and I'm actually going to borrow just to show you how good this is. You can even take the extra coal out of the cart assembly and put it in there. And I believe in a tree farm this size, that will actually run it for quite a while. And I believe this tutorial has gone over time, but I will try and finish it really quick because we should be close to done, guys. And this will definitely have to have a part 2, because just making that card alone took like 25 minutes plus setting up all this, and the part 2 will probably be either finishing up this or doing a wheat farm, because there is a wheat farm version of this. In fact, in the other world, if you saw all that extra tubing, you're probably thinking, but wait, your setup here looks nothing like what you've got in the other world. You've got like random tubes all over the place. Well, that's because I've been experimenting with actually powering things. Here, this is only generating. Yeah, next tutorial I'll be showing you how to convert this into power that quarries and stuff can use, and other useful things for it. And I will probably show you the trick of how to drain the nether of all the lava, because if you are not using biogas in these engines, they will need a lot of lava. But where I'm just using biogas, hopefully the water will get out of there or something, because I don't want it there. Hopefully, I say hopefully. Oh, crap. Anyway, yeah. So that is what I can also show you guys. I'll probably also do an engines tutorial eventually, because some of you are probably looking at these and thinking, what is an engine? What is this stuff? But that is something for another day. And we are just going to wait for this guy to harvest his tree so we can see what happens. And I'm going to borrow these saplings and stick them in here just to start the process, because I'm bored. Yeah, that reminds me. I will need a sapling, a piece of wood, and an apple really quickly, because I never ever coded this thing. I say coded because I'm basically telling it how to run, but I never told it where stuff goes. So red is apples, and as you can see, it does not take your items, so you won't lose any items as you code it. I still call it coding for some reason. Then that would leave yellow is wood, and this will just sort the items. I guess you could, if you use a retriever, you could sort them with a retriever, but I find it's just faster to use a diamond pipe with combined with either an auxiliary gate, or if you don't want to use an auxiliary gate, just use a redstone engine. But I would not have it running all the time, because in the larger tree farms it can take up to an hour to make a full rotation, which is why if you saw in my large creative world, I have like many places in it. Like along every end I have one of these, but it's only unloading stuff, and then it's running into like a main pipeline. And yeah, that's basically how you do it. Let's just check. I need to run this guy over here to get some apple juice, but I want to wait for more apples. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait a second, guys, and let this kind of queue up, and then actually we have enough apples, because all we need really is one mulch to make this sucker work. So where's my coal? I'll just borrow oh yeah, I need to show you how the retriever works. You'll need a solar panel, which is kind of a pain in the butt. It's a Bluetricity solar panel, just so you know, so you don't get confused. And you'll need a timer. I use a timer just because they're pretty simple to make, and then you don't have a giant massive redstone clock. Just get rid of the gate. And now, if we stick one by here, it'll actually work, because as of right now, nothing's actually happening in these furnaces, because normally you would put like at least a few pieces of charcoal or wood into the bottom to actually burn these, and these will also distribute stuff kind of evenly, as you can see. Okay, we have enough in here. We're just going to borrow this charcoal before it steals it, and we will power up the system and see what it does. Boom, boom, boom. And you might have to use more than one piece, but as you can see, this is just squeezing the apple. This is running. There we go. And pretty soon it will give us mulch. Now, it's not always guaranteed. Where's the recipes? If you click somewhere on these, there's like a recipes bar. Apparently not on the squeezer though. And as you can see, you may need 2 or 3 pieces of charcoal to get it working right. Did it steal the charcoal? I think it stole the charcoal. No, it doesn't have any power. That makes no sense. There, that'll fix it. Okay, we need this charcoal. There's nothing in there. Sorry guys, I forgot how hard it is to sometimes power these suckers up, because I had my generator running for a while before I actually built one of these. And this should give us mulch. I hate it when they don't give us mulch, but as you can see, it is giving us apple juice, which that might actually fill up faster than I anticipated, but that doesn't really matter. Now if we come over to here, you have to go behind these things or it'll reverse their direction. So be careful about that if you have a one-directional farm. Okay, how? Sorry, this is taking way too long. Borrow the 4 charcoal. The advantage of using furnaces over like one of those automatic things that I have in my world is you actually get, technically you get the XP from that, but it doesn't cause there we go, mulch. And you don't use up much mulch, so you don't have to worry about running out of mulch, I don't think. And as you can see, this sucker does eat a lot of water, but it's worth it. And as you can see, I need to actually power this or it'll never work. The things you don't remember until you're recording that you figured out the first time. Gotta love them, gotta love them, gotta love them. There we go. So this will start filling up our tank, and if we come and switch this, it will start filling up our engines, which can't fill up because they're full of water. I love it when stuff like this happens while I'm recording. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Just freaking love it. And as you can see, in the time that we've been talking, this has produced another 2 mulch. So it appears like it's a tiny bit random when it actually does produce mulch, but it does, just so you know. And then we just need 2 lava buckets. Ideally, you wouldn't have your water and your biogas pipes so close, and that wouldn't happen. As you can see, there was already biogas in the lines waiting, and now these should start going once they do their little preheat thing. Unless I've forgotten something, but I don't think I have. Doesn't have enough biogas yet. Is it biogas or biomass? And you may have to sacrifice a little bit of charcoal to actually start this sucker. I'll just take some wood. And like I said, you can pop probably a stack of wood or so in there and it should start running. Oh, shoot. You know what? That can run for a second without that there. I'd actually just eliminate all connections between this and the biogas line if I could. But I can't right here, unfortunately. At least these liquid ducts will not connect to each other. Like if I do this, they won't connect. But it should connect in a minute if I unpower this and let it kind of settle for a minute. And as you can see, the biogas engines are running. So once this generator runs out of power, these electrical engines will turn off, and this will be a self-sufficient biogas system. And it's kind of ticking me off right now. We're actually going to shut off this valve. actually going to suck all the water out of the lines, or the biogas. As you can see, now if I do this, it'll connect. And I want to start that engine before it cools down, because that's like the worst thing you can do. Because these engines take lava heating up, but they stay hot enough while they're running that they never need more lava. So if you can avoid shutting them down, do it. Don't shut them down, I mean. I don't know if that was clear, but don't shut them down if you can avoid it. And we'll get more saplings out of this sucker. I'll just borrow some of it, because normally if you already had like a tree farm, because you'd have to be like collecting resources like wood and stuff, yeah, there would be no shortage of saplings, trust me. I know what it feels like. And you want to make sure that you don't have that happen where you have biogas in this line, or you will run out of water eventually. And as you can see, we have 3 more mulch, and we have some saplings, and I designed a system to kind of regulate saplings from overflowing. But I believe with this small of a tree farm, you would never have to worry about having too many saplings. It's just if you go bigger. And if you do, just use a relay and it'll solve all your problems, like right here. Because this just holds items until there's space available in a furnace, or in this case over here, in the fermenter. I'm going to have to borrow some of these though, that's obvious. Anyway, this has been my power generations, probably call this #1 biogas, because that's all we did this episode. Look forward next episode. I'll be showing you like what to do with the overflow of your biomass, and I think I just unlagged because I'm pretty sure that finished editing right when I got done. Anyway, so next episode I'll be showing you what to actually do with the biomass, and probably apple juice, but I don't really know what to do with apple juice, so that might be kind of hard. But anyway, next time we will be either building a wheat farm or showing you what you can actually use this biomass for, because right now you're probably just thinking, well, all you're doing is putting it in a tube and then recycling it to an engine, so what good is it? But I will show you. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. I am theradman, and I will see you in I'll see you next episode, because I almost thought I was doing a time lapse. But thank you and goodbye.